Eutrophication. Eutrophication is the process of excessive dumping of nutrients and salts, such as nitrates and phosphates, into bodies of water, such as estuaries and lakes. This process causes the excessive growth of algae and the depletion of the water's oxygen.
Causes. The causes of eutrophication starts with the dumping of waste and runoff of fertilizer into bodies of water. About 75% of lakes in the United States have concentration of nutrients above their natural levels. About 80% of the phosphate that ends up in lakes and estuaries come from fertilizer runoff from land. The other 20% comes from sewage, water, and natural causes. These sewage water containing human waste and fertilizer from agricultural sites are dumped into the lake. An excessive amount of phosphates and nitrates are introduced into the water. These excessive amounts of phosphorus and nitrogen causes a rapid growth of the algae population. The nitrogen and phosphorus are absorbed when the algae goes through photosynthesis. An abundant amount of nitrogen and phosphorus means that there is going to be a rapid growth of algae. As the algae die off, the bacteria or the charnivore population grows to break down the algae. During this process, the bacteria go through cellular respiration, taking in the oxygen atoms floating around and releasing CO2. The depletion of oxygen causes the marine life to suffocate and die off. When this process is complete, the oxygen levels in the body of water is too low for any marine life form to sustain itself, thus completing the eutrophication process.
One consequence of eutrophication is a decrease in pH, making aquatic environments slightly more acidic. The bacteria which breaks down algae goes through cellular respiration, releasing a superfluous amount of CO2. The CO2 reacts with water to form carbonic acid. The carbonic acid dissociates to form H+ ions and bicarbonate, making the water more acidic. Another consequence of eutrophication is the death of marine life. Animals that thrive in aquatic environments rely on oxygen and the balance of nutrients in the water to survive. Algae found in eutrophic lakes and streams take in extreme amounts of dissolved oxygen when they die, causing fish and other aquatic animals to suffocate and die off. Algae also causes a phenomenon known as dead zones, but the amount of algae in the area is so great, sunlight cannot penetrate through to underwater plants. Not only does oxygen not enter the surface, but underwater plants cannot produce enough, ultimately limiting the space of habitable area for aquatic animals to a limited range.
Prevention. Firstly, one can try to not use as much fertilizer in gardening. As said before, it is nutrients that cause eutrophication, which can be found in fertilizers. One can also plant more trees around lakes or ponds because they are able to take in additional nutrients from the lake's slowing algae blooms. However, it ultimately comes to the awareness of one's action as to how they treat the environment because it is only up to the collective individual to stop the eutrophication process.